How does Hollywood tell stories effectively? And to bring us into that topic will be Tim.
To our last video where we talked about hero's journey. We've talked about Star Wars and Star Trek. It follows that where is our hero going? When they meet up with their guide, how are they going to overcome their adversity? And in the end, win the battle. I love movies, though, that shake things up a little bit. And one movie that I personally enjoy, and I use it when I'm teaching about storytelling, is Mission Impossible 3. Now, this is the one where Tom Cruise starts out the film and he's chained to a chair. And you hear some muffling in the background, even though the picture is dark. And when the picture actually comes up, we see him chained in this chair. And we see someone that he clearly cares about across from him, also tied up. And they are being held at gunpoint with the person who's holding them stating that they're going to kill this person unless he gives up information within the next 10 seconds. I love this movie for this very reason, not because of the violence, but because of the whole premise that before we have even identified who the characters are, we don't understand exactly what the information is, but we're right in the heat of the action. Because what is our hero going to do? They're chained up. There's a countdown going on. There's limited time. There's yelling between the two parties because the information isn't being given. There's a negotiation happening. We're so intensified in these first 2 minutes of this movie because at the end of it, when we hear a loud noise, it immediately goes into the title screen and we are then brought back into exposition. If you think back to the video that we did last time about the 3-act structure, we are brought back into learning about the characters, learning about the background of how this all started, and we're bought into this movie right from the very beginning. And this is one of the techniques that Hollywood uses, is to draw us in with that conflict, but doing it in a way that it's right in front of us from the very moment that we sit down. Misako, what kind of movies have you found that do something similar in that fashion?
Thank you for asking. I wanted to tell you this. My favorite is The Sound of Music. The opening is 1 second, I forget all mist. And you don't see anything, but it's in a mist, foggy area, and fog breaks out, and Maria, the main character, is dancing on top of the middle, beautiful mountains around it, and just like that, I was in there. It's on the beautiful top of the mountain, singing with her and looking at the Swiss Alps and everything. That is Hollywood way of doing you. The 1 minute before, I was sitting on the couch and what am I going to drink and something like that. Oh, I have to make this and that, and then so worries and everything just vanished like fog vanished. That's the way of doing, grab the audience. Nothing comes in mind when you see all the clouds breaks up the way they all calculated, but they don't show the effort they were doing. It just shows us and we are drawn into it. That's the reason I love The Sound of Music's opening. So what's going to happen? I'm just 100% engaged. I cannot wait to see how the story develops. I just love about The Sound of Music. It's old, but it never gets old in me. How about you, Oscar?
I was just going to add, I was thinking of a movie that sets a scene right from the beginning and keeps you wondering what's going on. And I remember I'm dating myself here. This was from the 1980s. Was the Lethal Weapon series with Danny Glover and Mel Gibson. Lethal Weapon number 2 really opens with a car chase scene, and it's just crazy action. You don't know what exactly is going on and who are they chasing and what are they why are they chasing the person, and then later on you figure out what's going on.
One thing I noticed, you both guys love the violence type of movie. They often use the suspicious sounds, don't they? Some chains clunking behind the scene. You cannot
Oh, yeah.
see its dog, or this hero
Car
is,
engines.
yeah, car engines and so forth.
Yeah.
It goes to the girly movies as well. The sound of
Yeah.
music.
Yes.
And the
Good perspective. We have
yeah,
the
the
male
bird
perspective and the
chirps
more
and
female perspective.
yes, it is universal.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when I love those violent movies anyway.
Okay.
Sometimes I have to do this, but
Yes.
but the sounds and colors and something limited visual. Even you
Yeah.
are watching the device nowadays small, but you're looking at the video and it's all dark and only sounds. And how do we do that for the storytelling using sounds? And it's very effective way of us using sounds into our storytelling. I hear chain clunking behind us
Well,
and I
even
cannot see
visuals.
anything. Yeah.
Even visual. I actually start my keynote speech. I actually begin it with setting the scene. If the audience could just have been there with me on a cold night and something crazy that I'm about to do, and immediately it's trying to spark people's interest and curiosity. And then I go into
their eyes.
then I go into the explanation of what exactly I was doing and why and how it relates to really the topic at hand.
That's very, very interesting. And I'm going to use that too. And I often do is I'm very animated speaker. So I often do what am I here? The face expression and some one hand act will go long way.
There's definitely a theme in what we've just been talking about, whether it's movies or whether it's speaking in public. With storytelling, it really comes down to two key elements. Number one, introducing conflict, making sure that it is very clear that there's a challenge that needs to be overcome by our hero. And number two, being as descriptive as possible, whether it's visually or through sound or even through kinesthetics. Any way that we can do it in which to put them in our audience's mind an identity of what is happening, what is stimulating them in their mind to want to listen to us and react to all the good things that we're describing.